Hey everyone, it's Mandy Gibbons here, and I'm here with Matt Smith, and you'll probably recognise Matt from Undercover Billionaire, and he was on the series featuring Grant Cardone in Pueblo. And Matt is the owner of WakeUp Pueblo and Snooze Mattress franchise. He's a commercial and residential real estate investor and developer, and has a very cute dog in the background. He's a best-selling author, owns the largest Snap Fitness in the world. I thought that was really cool, your story with that, and is an incredibly inspiring leader in his community, husband to his wife Jenny, who is absolutely kick-ass in my opinion, and father of 3 amazing children. So welcome, Matt. You're a legend.
Thank you. Thanks for the introduction. I super appreciate it. Thank you.
And so one of the things in particular, and I have made some notes here, people, so you'll just have to bear with me on this because I've been really excited about this, catching up with Matt. So one of the things that has really stuck out for me with Matt, and especially as a resilience coach for men, Matt, is your amazing energy and your drive and your ethics and your integrity and your strength, and while also being super kind and compassionate and generous, and all of these things play a big role in resilience, right? So I can see how people look up to you with so much incredible faith and trust as a leader, as a colleague and a friend, and how passionate you are as a father as well, right, and about your family. And I guess that's why I was so honored to have you on today, and also to find out if you're even open to coming on the podcast. I was so excited. So
awesome. I love what you're doing out there.
So it takes a lot of work, right, and a lot of growth, with having such an amazing heart and soul, and the way that you embody leadership. And I'd love to dig a bit deeper into your own story of resilience, if we could, in life, and as, a father, as a man, and as an entrepreneur as well. So would you mind sharing just like a little bit about your childhood and the impact that your mum had on your life? Because this, you can tell where all your awesome leadership skills and just your ethics come from. A lot of that comes from your mum, right?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I think I could talk about that all day long. My mom is 100% my hero. She was a single mother of 2 boys. And what we lacked for money at a young age, she made up for in just love and appreciation and encouragement, and just giving me every tool I needed to be encouraged to just go out there and get your dreams. And so many stories that I remember of my mom growing up. From one of my favorites is when we left church one day, and we were headed home, and she grabbed money out of her wallet, and it was $20. It was the last $20 she has. And when you don't have any money, you know how much money you don't have. But it was a normal day. She gave the homeless man money sitting on the side of the street. But when we get home, our lights were turned off. The electricity was shut off at our house. And I'll never forget this story. And I tell this story with so much faith, because it's like, I'll never forget her reaction. I get home, lights are turned out. My grandma lives down the street. If we needed to, we could have gotten stuff on her floor or whatever. But my mom's like, I get paid on Thursday. No problems. Just situations. We got this. We're fine. We're going to cuddle up this next 3 days. We're going to tell ghost stories. It's going to be awesome. And that was just who she was. She was such an amazing woman that really she could have cared less about money. That wasn't what life was about. It was about the love and the respect of kids, and raising really good humans, and making sure that we knew right from wrong. And yeah, just resilient, like it says on the side of your thing. Like that's definitely a word of my mom. Unfortunately, I lost my mom 15 years ago. She was gone way too soon. So I try to live everything I can in legacy of my own mom, and what would she do, and how would she think this through? And but yeah, being raised how we were raised, it taught me pretty much everything I needed to know. And it also gave me that dadpreneur that we talk about, because I never had a dad. So I always wanted to double down or triple down or 100 times that, to make sure I always could be the best dad possible.
Yeah. And that shines through big time. And this, like, I've read Matt's book, and it's awesome. You've got to get it, by the way. But in your book, this was, your mum also played a role in this as well. And that's a pivotal moment in your life, seeing your grandma's face, I'll get you to share that story in a moment, you know, looking at you in the hospital, you know, and for some young men, right, that could have gone differently in regards to your response to that. And, you know, it says a lot about you and your upbringing and your love and respect for your mum and your family, and that you took that as a sign of positive change and transformation.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And I love that you say mum. Mum is great. That's such, say mum. But yeah, but that was, you know, I was stabbed. You know, I got stabbed in high school, and I tell everybody to this day it was the absolute best thing that ever happened to me. It grew me up. It forced me to go, what the hell am I doing with my life? And is this the path that I want to take? And it wasn't like I was a troubled kid. It was just I hung out with the wrong people sometimes. And, you know, I just put myself in a bad situation. But yeah, knowing my grandma and my mom, the disappointment, it literally changed everything in my life on that one day when I sat in the hospital. So I didn't want to let them down ever again, but I knew I was better than that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you've definitely proven that, haven't you?
I'm working on it. I'm working every day.
And one thing that I thought that was interesting as well, like I totally resonated with you on this big time, and that was your challenges in learning, right? I'm exactly the same when it comes to like reading and retention and trying to, you know, take in things, absorb things, right? Because I can read things like, you know, like 10 times and it's just like blank afterwards. I have no idea what I've read. So I rely a lot on videos and audio tools and things like that, which is why I use Audible a lot. And but it's also helped me think outside of the box a lot, right? And found other ways to educate myself. And so I resonated with that with you. And I just would love it if you, because so many of us, especially entrepreneurs, like we are really like that, aren't we? A lot of us. And I thought, well, how do you deal with that? Because you mentioned that in your book, and I've heard you mention it in other places as well.
Yeah, you know, I'm proud to say that I'm actually the only board member of CSU Pueblo in this local community that did not graduate college. So that, you know, I've been able to do it without it, but I could truly say that I went back to college 4 times. Every time I went back, I was like, this is different. I'm going to change this time. And then every time I saw another test, I'm like, I don't remember anything. I don't know how to take this test. So after so many times, I'm like, okay, school is definitely not for me as much as I want to. Grant Cardone, when he was here, I remember saying, man, I got ADD, this, that. And he was like, you know, that's a blessing. And that's probably one of the best traits. And that is why you are who you are, Matt Smith. And I sat there and I was like, you're absolutely right. And I've always known that it kind of, you know, I don't sit still very well. I don't, you know, I'm just always on the go. And it drives my wife absolutely crazy, especially when I'm on vacations. But that is who I am. Like, I don't sit still, and problems don't last very long. Like, if they're there, you move on and you get to the next problem. So I think it is an absolute blessing. You know, there's so many people that can just, they don't, unfortunately, they get stuck on one thing and then they won't quit. And even if it's failure, they just keep going at the one path. But I think with the blessing of ADHD or ADD, you're okay with keep on running and keep on building that thing as high as you possibly can, and not be stuck at one side. So yeah, I think it's an absolute blessing. It's made me who I am, and it continues to make me every day who I am. So yeah, I don't think school's for everybody, but I think school's a great thing if it's for you, but it's not for everybody.
Hey, I get that. I barely made it to what was year 10, which is when I'm 15. I don't even know how I passed that because my learning was shocking. Like I had the lowest marks in the class and all kinds of stuff, and got punished. They used to put me outside. I'd sit underneath the orange trees and eat oranges and dream about all my big visions and stuff like that. And yeah, so, you know, I was used to being put in situations that I had to just try and figure stuff out like fast.
Yeah, and I think you just learn to deal with it. You know, it's a muscle that you got to work. And you know, it's funny because I went to the doctor probably in my early 20s, and I got diagnosed, and I took Ritalin, I believe it was, or something like that. And I took it for like 5 days, maybe 4 days, and I was like a zombie. I was like, I could see how it can make me focus, but I wasn't myself. I lost my personality. I lost where I was going. I was like, there's no way I will have ADD for the rest of my life. I am not taking any more medication for that stuff. And, you know, I think that stuff works, but, you know, be cautious.
Yeah.
Just embrace what God gave you talents, you know, embrace that shit.
That's right. I never took any of that, but I had friends that did. And yeah, and they didn't like it. So I thought, well, yeah, I'm not taking that. I'll figure it out.
Yep, absolutely.
And with your energy, right, comes incredible drive. Like that, actually, that was one thing that I noticed on Undercover Billionaire was like your drive. I was like, oh my good, like I actually felt like I was trying to keep up with you, but I was excited, and I could feel myself like cheering on, go yes, yes. It was awesome. So I love how in your book you mentioned Daryl, your mentor, and how he taught you to love sales and to have integrity and to earn the respect of your team members. And, I noticed that a lot actually in Undercover Billionaire, because even when people had doubts about Lewis Curtis, they had just absolute faith in you and your decision making. And like, Matt, that speaks volumes big time, right? I love that about you. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And, Daryl Bain is, the father that I never had. He is definitely the guy that, we all need mentors in our life, but we also need to lean into the mentors in our life too. And I think that at an early age, the guy definitely taught me a lot. And, no doubt in my mind, the more that I've been in business and the more that I've shaped that, as you saw on the show, I think anybody in this building will tell you that I no problems, just situations. We figure it all out. We're all here as a team. But I'm here because of everybody else in this building, not the opposite. So I'm very blessed to have all of these people in my life, and we are all going for the same thing. And as long as we're all rowing the same direction, some magic's going to happen out of this. But I think Daryl was definitely an influence and still is an influence to this day in my life. But who knows? I don't know where I'd be without a guy like that. But I definitely, he put me under the wing at the right time, at the right place. And when I didn't have anybody else there. So I'm blessed that I was raised by another amazing human that really valued humans, and cared about people to the point that everything else is noise. Like, I think that's where I probably disagree with a lot of other entrepreneurs that are just out there to work 7 days a week and grind and grind and grind and see how much money they can put in their account. I'm not that way, and I'll never be that way. I am like, I have to protect my family, and that's why I bust my ass, is to make sure that they have a better life and I can change the stars. But if I lose it all, it's fine with me. I have my family, and that's the most important thing in the world, is taking care of your family and making sure you're present. I won't miss a basketball game or a football game or a dance competition. That is just, I absolutely refuse it. And that's the most important thing. Everything else will come and go, but on your grave, you're not going to care about how much money that you made. You're going to care about the impact. So if I can give any advice to any of your listeners, that's probably the most important thing I learned at an early age. Is money's cool, gives you a little bit of freedom, but it doesn't make the world go round, and it's absolutely not what the purpose of life is.
I can't, but you just answered what my next question was going to be, actually, because I loved how you describe about retiring in your 30s, right, and taking responsibility for how you choose to live your life and owning your time, and because your family is your why.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to define your why. Not everybody is his family, but 100%. That is, I always remember, as long as I can remember, I wanted a family, and I was late to meet my wife. I didn't meet her till I was 30 years old. But she was in the same boat. We both wanted a family someday. She is my absolute soulmate. But it is the reason I do what I do, and I committed to her that the minute that we had kids old enough to know any different, I would never work a weekend again. And I worked every weekend, 12-hour days, 12-hour weekends. I was somewhat of a workaholic, but I was young and dumb and just trying to make money and figure it out. But the funny thing happened is when I did take that leap of faith at 38 years old, I left a company that I've been with for 18, 19 years, and my income tripled that next year. And I was able to give my family everything that they wanted and more. So it was just me betting on myself versus that stability that was there for a long time. And again, my previous company was really good to me, and I was really good to them. So it was just a great partnership. It was hard to walk away, but in the same sense, it's about family, and we get caught up too much in, well, one more promotion, or man, only 10 more years till retirement, or 15 years till retirement, or whatever that is. I'm halfway there. I need to just stick through that. But it's bullshit. We got one life to live. You got to live every minute, every hour, every day, every year to smile, not in stress and monotony, to someday hopefully you can retire. So I walked away. It was the best decision of my life, and I'll never look back. But again, from a financial standpoint, it was the best decision. From a spiritual, from a family, I am who I am because of it. So
I love that, and I totally get that. I'm on the tail end of recovering from brain and nervous system trauma, and I have rewired my brain through neuroplasticity to walk again and talk again and all kinds of stuff. So it's been, I totally get what it means to like have a second chance and appreciate life and have so much gratitude for it. It's taught me a lot about patience and resilience as well. And wouldn't want to have to go through it again, but I don't regret it either. You know what I mean? So yeah, and it really does make you appreciate people around you and also value time and be super, super grateful for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Love it. Well
And
said.
speaking of you and Jenny, like you guys have an incredible relationship with each other and your kids, and I notice I see this in your videos as well, right? And how you are setting your relationships up for life, like with communication and the kids believing in themselves and taking responsibility for having a great day. And you've even written a children's book on that, which is so cute, right? And I love your 3-2-1 that you do in the evenings. And, you know, I'd love it if you would like explain that a little bit, because you also said that you implement that with your team as well, which I thought was super cool.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And a lot of questions there, but I think, you know, ultimately, you know, communication is the key to any successful relationship as a dad, as a husband, as a entrepreneur, as a boss, whatever it may be. I truly believe over communication is the key to success. And that if you don't communicate and you hope to sweep things under the rug and that they'll go away, they will never go away. They will get worse and worse and worse. But yeah, I mean, I met my soulmate, like I said, at 30 years old, but you know, it's a work, you know, and there's no such thing as a perfect relationship. It is absolutely work, but it is absolutely worth it. She is the yin to my yang, and I am who I am because of her. But the things that we've developed with our children, and COVID was really good for us in this sake, that we were able to kind of regroup and figure out, okay, what is the priorities? I wrote a couple books during COVID, started the franchise during COVID. A lot of things just, I got out of the rat race of running to say, okay, where's the priorities in life? And let's really figure that out. But, you know, positivity is a muscle. You know, I talk to my, you know, I have the book somewhere over here, but it's called Make It a Great Day. And truly the book is about, you know, the beginning of there's three premises of the book. The beginning of it is every day you make it a great day. So I tell my kids on the way to school, is today going to be a great day? And they go, yes, because we're going to make it a great day. And you can call that whatever you want, brainwashing, positive, whatever. But I truly believe that sets yourself up. Just like when I wake up and I get in the gym, I'm listening to a book, I'm listening to Audible, I'm listening to something positive to set my day right. No matter what happens, start that day as positive as possible. The second part of the book is they all fall down or they can't ride a bike or something. And my 3 kids are the characters in it, but it's about not giving up and being resilient to making sure if you don't give up, anything is possible, and then just celebrating that success. And then the third part of the book is just communication. You know, we call it the communication qualities, but it's 3-2-1 is something I do with my kids every night. I do it with my wife every night, but it's like, what are the 3 most important things or the best things that happen in your day? And as a parent, you think that, hey, you spent all day with them at Disneyland, that's going to be their thing. They're like, oh my God, I love when I talk to Mickey. But you would be surprised that when you just ask that question, that they're like, yeah, Dad, today, you know, when you gave me that hug and told me you're proud of me because I tried this for the first time, you're like, okay, it really helps you understand what their priorities are versus what your priorities are, and not manipulate that otherwise, you know, like let the kids be the kids, but ask the question. And then the second thing is I always ask too, what is the 2 challenges or obstacles that happen in your day? Again, communication, it helps me understand their brain and go, this was a challenge. And I'm like, I didn't know if that was a challenge to me. I didn't see that in my eyes. That was just nothing. But they see it differently. And then it gives me the ability to make sure I can fix that, or I can show them how to fix that on their own. And then the last thing is is what do you look forward to for tomorrow? You know, what is exciting about tomorrow or this weekend, or what are you looking forward to? So it helps me make that extra special. And if they're like, tomorrow I have this egg drop off the roof like he did last week, it's like, okay, we got to get there and watch this. He's excited. He built this egg thing. He's got to drop it off the roof. His whole class is going to be there watching. So those are the little things that sometimes those don't mean anything to the kids, but sometimes that's the most important thing in their life. So 3-2-1, three best things that happen, 2 challenges, 1 thing you really look forward to. I believe if you do that every day with your wife, your husband, your kids, you will learn more than you can realize, and you will actually over communicate. And it really helps each other because then they know your side of it too. So me and my wife do it every single night too.
I love that.
I think it's if you do nothing else And if you're a parent, if you do that, I promise you, you will learn more about your kids and they'll learn more about you than anything else.
Yeah, and the fact, and the fact that you incorporate so much of that with your team, right? And I can understand you, because it seems like it has your team feels like family.
100%.
Yeah. And you can see that. And so when you mentioned that you sort of did that, and sort of had like no drama communication, and were all very open with each other and supported each other and had each other's back, that absolutely shines through, right? Big time.
Absolutely. And I'm a believer in that. The culture it makes everything in your business, and I believe that we're very particular about who we hire. We have a hard hiring process here. But you got to be a little bit weird. You got to be ethical as heck, and you got to be coachable. You got to be willing to really help grow yourself and grow the community. And other than that, you got a job for life with us. You've got a career for life with anything that I'm involved in. And I've been blessed that I have several different avenues. And a lot of times we put somebody in this position, we find out that might not have been the best position. We're going to move them here, but there is so much potential as long as we're all rowing the same direction to get to the final destination. We do. We have each other's back. These teams out here spend weekends together. We're all flying to Phoenix, or not all of us, but a lot of us are flying for ribbon cutting tonight or tomorrow morning for our grand opening of Snooze. So, but we eat together. We break bread together. We're just it's definitely a family around here, and I'm honored to be on this team for sure.
Like, obviously, Undercover Billionaire was sort of like would have been like something that they would throw anyone off base a little bit, right? But for you, like, you were easily able to just pivot like really quickly and just rolled with the punches, right? With so much positivity. And
but yeah, to your resilience, I think that it's, again, I talk about positivity as a muscle, but I've at this point I've owned 11 different businesses and 11 different, and every one of them has been successful, not because I'm the smartest man alive, but I'm a gritty son of a gun, and grit and determination is what wins. And you want to make sure that I've lost money in every business for months, sometimes even a year, to get to the next level. But if you push through and keep learning and challenging yourself, like I tell everybody in this building, we're gonna have 1,000 franchises. The goal is here, but every single day, how we get to that goal, it's never the path that we thought it was going to be. But don't change the goal, just change how you get there. And the same thing, like, no's are part of the journey. And when Grant came into my life, it wasn't the first time I started a new business just out of a whim. I've done that a lot, randomly, for no reason at all. So, and the community kind of pointed in my direction.
Yeah.
And
but that's why they pointed him in your direction, right? Because you put in years and years and years and years of hard work and resilience, and we're super successful. And it was just like, all of that just led up to that moment, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. That's what everybody in this, like Eric, my president, he's like, you were 10X before 10X. And I'm like, I don't know about, I appreciate it, but I was definitely an entrepreneur. I was determined. I was a serial entrepreneur. I did a lot out there prior to this. So, but Grant definitely elevated the way I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I reckon you complement each other, actually.
For sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. You and Jenny, I know you mentioned that you're super humble and don't always discuss this much, but you guys actually do a lot of work, community work, and and a lot of voluntary work and so forth. But faith seems to be something that's very strong for you guys, right?
Oh, 100%. Yes, we do. Faith keeps us going every day, but we are firm believers in giving back to our community. Again, my mom gave everything she had to the churches and the homeless and anything else, not just money, but time and energy and weekends, and nights, and whatever she could to put a smile on people's faces. So, I believe we got one life to live, and you got to make a difference in as much as you possibly can. So we definitely, faith helps us in every which way, but we're on this, like, when I met my wife for the first time, I will say that's what I knew. She reminded me of my mom. She was the one, she instantly, when I met her, I'm like, man, her heart is just, it's like who my mom's was before. And this is the woman, this is the person. And we're aligned in every which way on that.
Yeah, that's perfect. You guys are a perfect match. When I see you guys together, not only that, you have so much fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We are both a little crazy, but we both love life to the fullest, and we live life to the fullest 100%.
And that's it. When you have a purpose-driven life, right, you want to have fun, because it's funny. It's something I actually work on with my clients with resilience, right? Is that's trying to bring back a little bit of that childlike wonderment into your life and that fun and creativity, because it's really easy to just like lose that completely.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. You know, we challenge each other. That's the fun stuff is, you know, when we communicate with each other, we find out, hey, we do our bucket list together monthly, yearly, you know, sometimes even weekly. We'll talk about what we both want to accomplish and how we can help each other get there. But some of the stuff is when we go on vacation, is just getting out of our comfort zone, doing something we've never done before, you know, but we're definitely both, we enjoy the adrenaline of life and challenges and doing something that, you know, do shit that scares you is what I tell everybody all the time. Like, just if it scares the heck out of you, run faster that direction, because that's how you grow. If you're afraid to do it and you never do it, you're never going to get any better or any stronger at that. So, and my wife definitely, she embodies that. She just became a real estate agent with Grant Cardone recently. You know, she's loving every minute of it, but it was one of those things like, now she's loving it. You know, you just take a leap. But yeah.
That's so cool. And one thing I did want to ask you is this, I mean, I know you have your inner circle and so forth, but, you know, one thing that I found, especially with my male clients, right, in the entrepreneurial world, is that they don't always share what's going on in here, right? You know, when they're going through their struggles and they feel like they've got to keep that secret, they can't be the white knight that falls off the horse and so forth. Right. And, you know, there's a lot of emotional stuff that's going on that they're not sharing and that they struggle with. And so do you mind if I ask how you deal with that? And do you have, you know, guys that you can chat with and share with? I know you have coaches.
Yeah, I think, you know, I think that being vulnerability is a part of life, though. You know, I definitely, you know, we all have our insecurities. We all have our things that, you know, you're absolutely right that men want to beat our chest sometimes and be like, we're flawless, and there's no, but I believe that, you know, anybody around me knows that I wear my emotions on my sleeve, and I'm fine with that. And I actually prefer it that way, because at least you guys know, and I feel the same way. I feel like it goes back to that communication. If you just do it and you just put that out there, you would be surprised at the outcome and how, you know, how the person that you thought was going to judge you absolutely does not judge you in any which way, but actually could be a part of the solution, you know. And I have several coaches in my life. And I've committed to, they know everything, good, bad, ugly, everything in between. They know it. My wife is definitely a coach in my life because she knows everything too, but I'm very vulnerable to my wife, and so is she to me, I think, but that is probably the key to helping each other out and knowing each other's insecurities. So I believe if you're one of those people, male or female, that doesn't like that, you've got to just talk, and you'll see how much success comes out of doing it. You know, don't hold that shit in, because it'll bottle up and explode at some point. But the more times you talk about it, the easier that'll get. It's another muscle that you just do it and see. If you're talking to somebody and they're judging you, you're talking to the wrong people in your life. That's all there is to it. You know, if you've got somebody that's judging the shit out of you for your insecurities, that person shouldn't be in your life.
Yeah, I agree. That's I'm very much a believer in, you know, like, to know who the people are. Like, you might have your friends that maybe you can go like play footy with or something like that. They may not be the greatest for sharing something, or they, you know, may not be able to bear the weight of what you want to share with them. So don't share it with them. Find someone else who can.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, 100%. And you know, and we talk in the book too. You probably remember the bus. I talk about the bus, and it's like you drive your bus, and you probably heard this analogy before, but it hits so home to me. Is like you're the driver of your bus, and on that bus you only have so many seats, and you control who's on your bus. And certain points of your life, certain seasons of your life, you've got to take somebody off the bus, and you got to add somebody new into your bus. But you're the only one that controls that. And if they don't sit, you know, becoming a parent for me was one of those aha moments. When I became a parent for the first time, I saw who I didn't want around my kids. And it was cool when I was a single guy in the bars and hopping around and thinking it was cool. But when I became a parent, I'm like, there's certain people that I don't want on my bus anymore. And I had to eliminate those people off my bus, and I had to leave room for the right people. And when I left room for the right people, my bus is full of amazing family people and people that I want to be around my children and children that I want to be around my children. So you control that bus. You are the bus driver, but at some point in your life, That bus is going to crash. You will die. That is a part of the journey that we're on life. Like your bus is going to end and your life will end at some point. So take it seriously. Put the right people on your bus, and don't be afraid to get people off your bus if they're not helping that bus speed up, and they're not fuel for your bus, and they're not helping put smiles on your faces. Get that drama and get that out of your life as fast as you possibly can. And there's new people out there that want to join your bus. I promise that.
Yeah, and not only that too, like when you're very purposeful about your life, and like the legacy that you want to leave behind, it's really important who you're hanging around with, right?
100%. And your children, 100%.
Yeah.
You, but just like all we're talking about here, the insecurities, people around you should want you to be a better person. They shouldn't be competing against you. And if you're all going the right direction, you're all helping each other grow, special things and beautiful things will happen. But
yeah, and they help. I mean, it's always super important to hold yourself accountable and take responsibility for that. But when you have people in your inner circle that are super supportive of you, they will help hold you accountable as well, right? And responsible for like if you hold yourself up to a certain amount of integrity, they're going to make sure they hold you to that, right?
100%. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're gonna hold them up to that. Like, when you're better, when they're better than that. And that's all you got to say sometimes is, hey, you're better than that. You didn't mean that. And vice versa. 100%.
Yeah. Because integrity is huge, right?
Integrity is everything. 100%.
Yeah.
Do the things that when nobody else is watching. And it's that's really our main job, core value here in our job requirement. Family first, integrity. There's a lot of little things, but integrity is the one thing that is unforgivable for me. If you cheat or you steal or you do something conniving intentionally, you don't belong here. You just absolutely, I can't forgive that. I can forgive anything else under the sun in this building, and we could get through anything. But if you're lying and cheating and stealing from us, there's an issue, and that's a character trait that you usually can't fix. And I don't want anything to do with trying.
Well, not only that, it just doesn't burn you, it burns everyone, right? Especially when you have created a really trusting environment. Everyone is affected by it.
100%. Absolutely. One bad apple, everybody else thinks it's okay, for sure.
Yeah. And thinking about integrity, there's and honesty. I'm just trying to think. There's a story about the candy and the sleepover story that was in the book. I thought it was so cute.
Oh, I appreciate that. And it was so like, my kids were downstairs. First time they had a sleepover in the basement. Yeah. And now outside of the room, and I'm like, okay, no candy, no, I told them all of that stuff. And they were like, okay, we're going to bed. And then I came down to tuck them in, give them a kiss. And my son was like, Dad, you told me this a couple hours ago, and there is candy down here. And I have to tell you. And that meant the world to me. I mean, instantly, that's all I can ask for as a father, is that I'm raising a good human, a guy that understands right from wrong. This little boy inspires me every single day of my life. But that was one of the moments that I was like, okay, we're doing something right here. He's listening. He cares. He knows he can get away with this candy. He knows I was about to shut the lights off, and he could have spent all night eating everything in candy and throw it away, and I never would have noticed it. But he also knew that wasn't the right thing. So he stopped me. He told me it was a special moment for me and him, because I didn't punish him, because he was honest. He was absolutely 100% honest. And that's all we can ask for. So instead, he got to eat the candy, and he got to enjoy that because he was honest. And I think to that day, it was probably one of the most important lessons he could have learned at probably 4 years oldish, 5 maybe at the most. But it was a lesson that I think to this day, that is the most honest child you will ever meet in your entire life. And he cries when he feels like he's letting you down. And he is just such a special boy, but he cares, so 100%.
Yeah, I love that story. But it goes to show too, right, the way that you and Jenny, like are raising your kids, and that they understand that, but also they feel very comfortable being honest with you about that as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Communicate with your kids. Cause that's even my little daughter. It's so funny. She's 6. Well, at 5, she comes home and says she's got a boyfriend. And I'm like, but it took me a second to be like, okay, if I give her crap, and originally I'm like, I'm gonna go fight this kid and tell me, but I'm laughing and I'm like trying to joke with her. But I could tell that it set her off too. She was just like, I'm not gonna tell my dad anything else anymore. And I'm like, okay, because everybody's different. So I had to revert and go, hey, tell me about this kid. What's going on with this little boy? And now she can tell me every night, and she's just like, a little puppy love, whatever it is. It's school. It's out of my circle of control. There's nothing I can do to control that. So I need to lean in and make sure I'm communicating and make sure that we both know that we're on the same page. But that was a recent story that I saw myself being the guy that's like, there's no guy's good enough for my daughter, and she just shut down, and she was like, I don't want to talk to my dad anymore. And I'm like, okay, that was a horrible approach. I'm going to reinvent this approach, and now we communicate about it all the time. And it's very innocent. It's nothing, but it's still, I'm setting the guidelines to, hey, when you're 16, you can talk to me about boys, whatever it may be. I want to be there and I want to know.
Yeah. And that's, that's so important as kids are getting older, right? Because I mean, you have to lead by example with them, but you always want them to be able to feel comfortable coming and talking to you.
100%. 100%. And communication, again, you go to those 3, 2, 1s, a lot of times they're just listen. And I'll never forget, my mom knew everything about me, and everything, things that I would not tell anybody. She knew, and she asked, and she cared, and she never ever judged me for any crazy scenario that I was going through at life. And that's our expectation as a parent. Raise good humans, listen, respect them, teach them right from wrong.
Yeah. I noticed that like men in Pueblo, especially, are very close-knit, very supportive, hold a lot of integrity. The ones that you are connected with, I saw, like on the Undercover Billionaire, and and just how much respect that you had for you guys. There was just so much giving and caring and compassion amongst you all.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that just, servant leader, just be willing to help anybody, you know what I mean? And roll up your sleeves and get involved in anything and everything. But yeah, this community is such a special community, but we all have each other's backs. We all care about each other. And I wouldn't be in this scenario. I wouldn't have been an Undercover Billionaire if people didn't care about me as much as I care about them, and truly be like, no, Matt's your guy. Like any of those guys, Ryan Zabukovic or anybody could have been like, no, talk to me. Let's figure this out. I want to be on TV. But they, it's because of the relationships and the bond that we have in this community. It's like, what's best for everybody here? How do we help each other? High tides raise all boats. Everybody in this community is truly trying to raise the tides right now, so we all win.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. Is there, something that really resonates with you that you would love to say to men that might be struggling with their own resilience, but also their emotional resilience as well, right? And, they might be super driven as entrepreneurs, but they feel like they've got this performance that they have to keep up with, right? And then they're burning themselves out. And I know for you, it's very much family first. And self-compassion, that's one thing I've found with men, is that self-compassion is something that they don't have a lot of, right? What's some advice that you would really love to give to guys when they're going through those struggles of emotions and just thinking, well, I've had enough of this, I'm getting burnt out?
Yeah, I mean, I think find a passion and find something that you absolutely love, whatever you're doing. I also think that for men, don't let pride get in the way. I think that pride can get in the way for all of us men in so many different ways, where we'll make dumb decisions based on beating our own chest. And we know it's a dumb decision, but we're too prideful to admit that or say that. So I believe that, like, when I owned all these businesses, I went through so many lessons. Is at one point, I think I owned 9 businesses at the exact same time. And it was absolutely stupid. Like, why would somebody do that? Well, it was because I loved the saying, I'm opening more businesses. I'm doing it again. Like, I'm doing this. And I love that. But reality, I was great at nothing. I was good at a lot of things, but I was great at nothing because I was so spread thin. So I had to learn that, like, get your damn pride out of this thing. Run fast toward the things that are your long-term goals. What is your why? And that's the direction you need to go. And that's where Snooze came from. Snooze International came from that. It was like, this is what I know better. This is what I really enjoy. This is where I'm going to make a difference for my family, my community, for the world. In my eyes, I'm going to help the world sleep better. So I had to get rid of all the rest of the noise. You know what I mean? But you also got to admit when you're not winning, because so many of us will put our entire life savings and hawk our house and do everything without really changing what we're doing to get the results that we need, and you have to be able to either change everything and be willing to say that you're stupid and that was a stupid idea, because I have dumb ideas all the time in this building, but I think they're great when they come out. And then after we go down that path, I'm like, all right, that wasn't as great as I thought. Let's move, pivot, but you have to love yourself enough to be able to pivot, and don't be arrogant that you have to go down this and lose everything because you're too committed to the end results, so commit, but strategically commit to whatever that possibly is, and do the things that you enjoy. So the journey should be as important as anything else in between. I love the journey. I'm proud of the journey. I love the journey. I've lost great employees. It's a part of the journey. I've lost good people, but I've inspired a lot of people. I think everybody that's come through this system is a better person because of us. But it kills me every single time I lose somebody. It absolutely eats me inside. But I've also learned that's life. It's a part of who we are. So be resilient. Truly admit when you're wrong. Quit guys being guys. I tell my sales guys that on a small scale, even an idiot deserves a Snooze mattress. And I think that's life. Like, don't let a guy come in with $10,000 to buy a mattress and you're too prideful and he's just an asshole and you're just like, screw that guy. He doesn't deserve one of our beds anyway. I think we do that in life. We're just like, screw that. I'm not, they don't deserve me anyway. I'm better than them. Like, no, but that guy's paying your checks and he's going to buy from somebody. He's going to be a part of somebody's system. Just suck up your pride and help the customer. You know what I mean? So truly, I think that's an analogy for life. Suck up our pride and go after what we're trying to go through. Find your why and run as fast as you possibly can towards that.
Yeah, I love that. And like, what does resilience actually mean personally to you?
Oh man, resilience is like grit, determination. Like, truly, I think resilience is it's a muscle. It's a muscle that you work your ass off and develop, but it is the ability when you get kicked in the teeth that you get back up and you smile without your teeth and get some new teeth. It is a part of the journey. You will get kicked in the teeth. I get kicked every single day in this building. Every day something I thought was going to be perfect does not. But I've built that determination and that resilience that no problem, just situation, like they say in Jamaica. Just another situation. We'll get right through it, But resilience is definitely the ability to keep on keeping on.
Yeah, I love that. And I think probably I always thought I knew what resilience was because I'm a pretty resilient person and have been through a lot in my life. But experiencing brain and nervous system trauma just taught me a whole new level, right? And then I just thought, wow, I am a resilience coach. Now I can really up it, right? I can just like really bring it home for my clients, like even more so now. So it's just exciting in a way, right?
Yeah, and you probably saw the end of my book. My best friend in the world, Johnny Grove, was in a bad car accident. He's paralyzed down right now. You want to talk about resilience? You want to talk about somebody that's life's throwing him a curveball and he smiles every day, and he's still determined to figure out how he's going to walk again, and he will walk again. I guarantee you that. But that is, life gives us giant things like what have unfortunately have happened to you, and then they give us minor things that happen every single day. And it's the ability you got one chance at this thing we call life. Smile, enjoy whatever the hell life throws at you, and attitude is everything.
Yeah, and the cool thing is that if you celebrate each of those little steps along the way, right, because it's all wins, it's right. That grows rapport within yourself, right? And then you feel like it creates all this momentum for yourself, and then all of a sudden you're going, hell yeah, I did this, hell yeah, I did that. And it's just, life seems exciting, even if it doesn't seem like where you would like it to be at the time. You're still making those steps and you're preparing yourself for whatever's coming ahead, and that's exciting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well said.
And so where can people reach out to you? Like, I will include links with this. You also have a podcast.
Yes, we've
as well.
Yeah, Dadpreneur. And then we have a big podcast where we get entrepreneurs from all over the world. Interviewing Jake Jobs next week, who's a huge furniture guy. So dream big. We have Dream Makers, which is all mattress talk. I'm on every platform: Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. You can find me on pretty much all of that stuff. I believe in omnipresence, and put yourself out there. If you're not on one of those platforms, get out there. If you're a business person, you're not on LinkedIn, you're missing out.
That's right.
put stuff out there, put yourself out there, do shit that scares you, but it will affect your business 100%. So yeah, Matt Smith, Pueblo, I believe on most platforms, just Matt Smith and LinkedIn. Yeah, that's where you can find me.
That's cool. Well, it wasn't very hard for me to find you. I Googled you, and then I was like, saw you on Instagram, and then I was like, I'm going to check him out on LinkedIn. And then I was like, I just did the circuit.
I appreciate it. And it's so, if they're different, you know, I mean, I'm in the marketing business now, and Grant taught me one thing was like, you know, be omnipresent, put yourself on every platform because you don't know where your audience is. And
Yeah.
when I met Grant, I was like, LinkedIn, I've never even really heard of it. And the more I've gotten on there, I have made so many, like some of my president of operations I met on LinkedIn. President of sales here in this building, you know, led on LinkedIn. We've sold so many franchises. You know, the crazy stat on LinkedIn is 1% of people on LinkedIn actually post. 99% of people just sit there and watch. So if you're on LinkedIn, I'm telling you, get out there and post stuff. It will affect your business and your relationships, and people will see you and you will become more known. So do shit that scares you.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Awesome. Well, thanks so much. I'm so grateful and so honored, and it's just been, yeah, I'm super, super excited to have you on and really appreciate it. And thank Jenny for us as well, because she inspires me too. And yeah, and I love seeing all your posts on all the platforms, and yeah, and just I love following you and getting inspiration from you guys, and yeah, and telling other people to watch you too.
You are a lovely human. You are amazing. What I know about you, you're doing some special things, and I'm honored to be on your podcast. Keep on kicking ass out there and changing the world like only you can, Mandy.
Thank you so much. Awesome. Absolutely. I appreciate that big time. Value that. Thank you. Well, big hugs.
Big hugs. Have an amazing day.
Yeah, have an awesome day. Thank you so much.